In the meantime, a growing homeless crisis seems to be affecting the suburbs of Los Angeles. An LA city councilman telling Fox News today that surrounding affluent towns and cities are not doing their part and are even moving some of their homeless into LA's city limits. Shame on you rich people. This comes on the heels of a recent report from the city's newspaper, the LA Times, that focused solely on the increasing homelessness in, guess where? Mexico. Now, they don't report their own homeless, just Mexico's. The story totally ignoring the estimated 59,000 homeless currently living in Los Angeles County. Joining me now to talk about all of this, Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor, Fox Business contributor, and Patrice Onwuka, who is a senior policy analyst at Independent Women's Forum. Good to see you both.
Good evening.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, let's start with the economy. You know, Charlie, the economy is doing wonderfully, best in decades. But, you know, you won't ever hear a Democrat or, frankly, anybody in the left media, which is redundant left media, it's the same.
You repeat yourself.
They'll never give the president credit, will they?
No, they won't. And quite frankly, I think that that has a lot to do with why they spend so much time talking about this nonsense about Russia. Because if they actually looked at the issues and they were actually talking about the issues, they would be even farther up the creek without a paddle. Because on the issues like the economy, Donald Trump is doing spectacularly. And the 2016 election, it was an unusual election. There was a lot of fisticuffs that a lot of us had never seen before. But at the bottom line, the end of the day, that election was about issues. And Donald Trump was right on all of the issues, all of the important issues, including the economy.
Right.
And Hillary Clinton and the Democrats were wrong. And I think that's a big reason why they spend so much time talking about this nonsense about Russia.
You know, Patrice, people love to focus on social issues and other issues other than the economy in the run-up to a presidential election. But boy, once they step into the booth and they close the curtain behind them, they vote their wallets, don't they? So it's going to be very hard with a strong economy at the back of the president for a Democrat to overcome that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why there's so much attention in the media around social issues for quote unquote women's issues, things around abortion, health care pertaining to women, paid leave, all of these different issues. It's meant to, distract really from a very good economy. And so, what's interesting though is when people go into the voting booth, they're asking, is my life better today than it was 4 years ago? And, just looking at the fact that restaurant spending by Americans rose, I guess, 0.7%, indicates that people are getting out there and having dinner. They're spending money. They have more discretionary income than they had before. And it's showing up in ways that they're, treating their family on a Friday night to dinner, but they're also going out on Monday night for drinks. And that's fantastic for the economy. And so the challenge for Democrats is, well, why should voters change the course of the economy in the country if they're doing so well?
It's great. I go to Taco Bell now more often because that's my favorite restaurant. Charlie, the DNC has got another problem. They're about $6.2 million in debt right now. Are the money woes, assuming they continue, going to hurt whoever's the nominee?
Well, I think this is why they're having to turn to socialism, because obviously capitalism is not working out for them very well. I do think that obviously, ground game and all that kind of stuff, the stuff that money pays for, is going to be crucial over the next year and a half. But again, it all comes back to what is their big message? And Bernie Sanders embracing the term socialism, talking about socialism, talking about how proud he is to be a socialist. I don't think that works even in the Democratic Party. And if he winds up with the nomination, or any of the others with some of the other crazy ideas that are getting spouted out. about. I just think it's going to be really difficult.
Well, and I'll just jump in here and say the question is whether Bernie would even get the nomination. I think there's still a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of angst from Democratic voters who felt that they were shafted, frankly, in 2016 by the DNC and by a lot of the backroom dealing that handed Hillary Clinton the nomination.
We'll have to ask Donna Brazil about that the next time we talk to her.
Good question to ask her.
I want to ask you about the homelessness in my hometown of Los Angeles, where I grew up and went to college. And, I love it, but not anymore. And Gavin Newsom, the new governor, a Democrat, has now a $214 billion budget. Let's put up that graphic, because what jumps out at me when you look at this is $650 million for homelessness, but look at the $98 million health care for illegals under the age of 26. Now, Charlie, let me get this straight. So if you're a legal tax-paying citizen in California and you don't buy health insurance, you get taxed. But if you're an illegal, you get your health care for free, right? That's a sweetheart deal, ain't it?
It's so incredible to watch these politicians play these games, and they are games, and they play the games, and it's just like the business on the border. The idea that they don't want to seal the border. Well, if we sealed the border, that's going to be the only way we stop these horrific tragedies where people die trying to cross the border, like that 7-year-old Indian young girl from India who died in the desert trying to cross. The only humanitarian thing to do is build a wall and stop the illegal immigration. But these politicians, they don't care. They don't care about these people. They are glad to play with their lives as long as it allows them to make political points and amass political power so that they have all the power that they can imagine, especially here in Washington.
And Patrice, the LA Times, focusing on Mexico's homeless and seemingly ignoring their own.
Oh, it's embarrassing. It's surprising to me that that lawmakers in California were surprised that homelessness went up 12%, I believe, in LA County over the past year. Well, boy, those are probably the people they're stepping over every day while they're dodging needles and poop on the sidewalks. Yeah. I mean, I think what's sad, though, is that you're talking about I guess the governor is probably going to take a budget surplus and use it on illegal immigrants who should not be getting health care, bucking federal law, frankly. Yeah. Just to provide that, because they have an eye towards, future elections. They're trying to build up, potential voters who can't vote right now, but I guess they will eventually. And I think that does a disservice to taxpayers. It does a disservice to residents and legal immigrants.
As I say, I grew up there. My family is still out there, and everybody wants to move out of California. They've ruined the place. And the LA Times, by the way, utterly unreadable except for the sports section, which is too bad. All right, Patrice and Charlie, good to see you both. Thanks very much.
Coming up next.